The first thing Emily saw when she opened her eyes that Monday morning was the sunlight sneaking through the thin curtains. She wished it could burn away the dread in her chest. School wasn't a place she looked forward to. It was a place where whispers turned into laughter, laughter into taunts, and taunts into something worse. She was a quiet girl. The kind who liked sketching flowers in her notebook instead of talking at lunch. But in a school where being different meant being a target, Emily's silence made her easy prey. That day started like any other, until it didn't. Emily was in the art room after class, finishing a sketch for an upcoming project. The room was quiet, the smell of paint still lingering in the air. She didn't hear them come in. A sudden shove against her shoulder sent her sketchbook flying. She turned, her heart racing, to see Madison, the self-proclaimed queen of the school, flanked by two other girls, Claire and Sophie. Madison smirked. "Look at this. Our little ghost girl drawing flowers again. You ever think about doing something useful?" Emily stayed quiet, hoping they'd get bored. But today, boredom wasn't what they wanted. Before Emily could react, Claire grabbed her wrists, and Sophie pulled a chair forward. In one swift, terrifying motion, they tied her to it with ribbons from the art supply closet. Her heart pounded as they surrounded her. Madison pulled out a permanent marker and said, "Let's make you pretty for once." They drew on her arms, her face, and even in her hair. Crude shapes, humiliating words. Every time she flinched, they laughed louder. Emily's stomach knotted, not from fear alone, but from the sharp sting of betrayal, because no one else in the room stepped in. A few students walked by the doorway, glanced in, and quickly looked away. When they finally stopped, Madison tilted her head. "Perfect. Now everyone will know who you are." They tossed her sketchbook in the trash and walked out like nothing happened. Emily sat there for a moment, her breathing shallow. She felt heat rising in her cheeks. Not from shame, but from something deeper, fiercer. She tugged at the ribbons until her wrists burned, until one finally snapped. She tore herself free, her hands trembling. She looked in the mirror above the art sink. The black marker covered her face, but her eyes looked different. She picked up the same marker Madison had used. Emily found them in the cafeteria, laughing at a table surrounded by their friends. She walked straight up to Madison. The room quieted. This shy girl, walking with her chin high, wasn't the Emily they knew. Without a word, Emily reached out and, before Madison could react, drew a bold black line across her cheek. The gasp in the room was loud, but Emily didn't stop. She turned to Claire and Sophie, marking a flower on each of their hands. "This," Emily said, her voice steady, "is so you remember that your actions leave marks too." No one laughed. Madison's confident smirk faltered for the first time. The teachers found out later, and the bullies were given detention and community service, but something had already shifted long before the punishment. For the rest of the week, Emily noticed people looking at her differently, not with pity, but with quiet respect. She sat alone at lunch by choice, not because she was afraid anymore. And while she didn't suddenly become the most talkative girl in school, she carried herself with a quiet strength. It wasn't about revenge. It was about showing them she wasn't invisible. Months later, Madison approached her in the hallway, her voice lower, almost unsure. "I am sorry. I didn't think." Emily met her eyes and simply said, "You didn't have to think. You just had to care." Then she walked away, leaving Madison standing there, lost in her own silence. From then on, Emily's sketches changed. She still drew flowers, but now they had thorns. Delicate, beautiful, but unafraid to protect themselves.